Okay. So I'm just going to give you a heads up. Ignore the background. But today's video, I'm just going to basically go over a recap of what kind of happened this previous week. So basically Monday, February 16th through, whoa, that is not right. Oh, February 16th through the 20th. And it's honestly a really good week. When I first looked at it, I didn't see all the potential that was in the market until I actually did an overview with my boy yesterday. He kind of pointed out some things to me that I was missing out, but I really want to show you guys this. Realistically, this is going to be a fire overview of the week. So please understand why I make these videos. I don't make them just so I can sit here and have all my subscribers just sit here and like and repost all this other stuff. I mean, yeah, that'd be awesome. But I do it because I want you guys to see how important it is to actually have a strategy that is backed up, that you've tried and you've taken the time and it's just solid is what I'm getting at. Having a foundation of a strategy that actually works is just really, really key. So I'm just gonna go down every single day. Monday, just to give you a heads up, was a it was a holiday. I can't remember what holiday it was, but so realistically, it was just nothing but consolidation, but we'll go over it. One thing I like to do every single time I'm in the hourly and I'm looking at the chart, always mark out London session. Here's London session. And what we'll do is if London session does not give us any key confluences or just a bias overall, we're going to go ahead and go all the way back to Asia session. Anything to have confirmation will always be key in a strategy. If you don't have any confirmation, you don't know what you're doing. So all right, so obviously this right here is New York session. If we look at London session, what do we see? We can see that there is a high right here. Do we see anything else? No. All we see is previous to London session, there's a low. So in this scenario, the only thing I can think of is obviously we're in a downtrend. Before market opens, we're up here. So there's not much you can really assume off of what's going on, other than the fact that it looks like we're going to go in a downtrend. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and push it all the way back to Asia session open, which would be 18. All right, now we have playroom. So let's go ahead and do this. Here's a low, here is a high, and if we zoom in, this is a high too. So key things right here, right now. This is a low too also. So what this means is price ended up sweeping this low. We got clear rejections right here. We ended up breaking structuring to the high on this high. So what does that mean? We're in an uptrend in that scenario. Duh, clear as day. Who wouldn't believe that? Also, we come up here. We end up taking this high. And do we end up going higher? No. So the first thing you should think about is this a sweep? Only because we rejected going higher and we don't see any momentum to the upside. We just see candles just keep pushing down. So what I'll do is I'll sit here and be like, okay, what is 5 minutes showing me? Because realistically, all I'm seeing is a 5 minute, a 1 hour basically downtrend. All right. So in this scenario, we're in the 5 minute. Do we see anything? We see that obviously this was an accumulation phase. You could say this was a manipulation phase or a distribution, but in this scenario, it was just very choppy. And plus, we already took it out the previous low. So I wouldn't have traded this if you want me to be very honest. I'm looking for 5 minute liquidity sweeps. This is not a liquidity sweep. This is not a liquidity sweep because there's no highs and no lows. Yes, right here, this is a liquidity sweep. And I want to show you guys this just really, really fast. And I don't want to sit here and confuse you. This right here is a liquidity sweep because this is a low. And I would say in the range of 3 to 5 candles, it can be less than 5 candles. If we end up catching a sweep, I'm drawing down into the next time frame. And this is gold right here. I want you guys to understand it. This right here is gold. It is so key to understand that if you see a low or a high get swept within less than 5 candles, draw down to a lower time frame and see if your strategy plays out. In my scenario, it would be liquidity sweep, breaker structure, and a fair value gap. And I'm just going to show you this, but there was no trade. All right. So right here. It's key. We just saw in the 5 minute that this low ends up getting swept. We end up catching a breaker structure, and there was a fair value gap. There was an inverse, but none of these zones got retested. And even if we did, we probably would have got taken out because we just would have been consolidating phase. And there was no valid retest. I kid you not. I literally looked from every single one. But at the same time, this is a holiday. You shouldn't expect there to be anything going on whenever market closes at 1 o'clock. And once again, it's a holiday. So that's just a wrap up for Monday. Monday, there was a no go. But I'm just giving you clear bias, how to sit here and look at the market and understand what's going to happen. And, understand just by like what market shows you. I'm not saying understand to where you're going to win every single trade. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know absolutely everything, but I will go down the lines of showing you how you can see the markets and how you can adjust to it. Let's get rid of that. Oh, that's the wrong button. Okay. Monday is out of this equation. Oh, I guess I got rid of the 932. Let's go ahead and go to Tuesday. So Tuesday, here is 9:30, New York Open. Let's go ahead and pull up this session. All right, so this is where we got something that's actually showing us. I can't even speak correctly. All right, so here we go. We have a high right here, and we have a low right here. In this scenario, I know this looks a little bit crazy, but I'm going to break it down. This would be the highest point of the market if this was considered, if this wouldn't got swept, more or less. The only reason I'm showing you guys this is because I don't want to confuse you by sitting here saying, all right, this is the highest point and this is the lowest point. When all realistically, all in all, it is. But just to be a little bit more clear, we're going to consider this right here the high, and we're going to consider this the low. Only reason this is the high is because blue and black equals a high, and then black and blue equals a low. See, as you can see, this will consider the low. This would be considered the high. But since it got swept, it would mess it up a little bit. But we draw it down to the 5 minute time frame, and this is where it gets a lot more cleaner. So as we can see, what happened when market opened is we ended up taking this high out right when market opened. So in this scenario, all we had left was this low. This happened after New York session open. So what would I be looking for? Oh, 5 minute liquidity sweep. We get rid of this. And we get rid of this. So with that being said, anything that happens during the New York session and it creates a sweep, I'm telling you to follow the rules, is what I'm saying. If London session creates a sweep and nothing happens on New York Open, that's fine. Listen to what a London session is showing you. If New York creates a sweep, and what I mean by sweep is liquidity sweep and a breaker structure. I'm not talking about price creates a sweep and then we just keep going in the same direction. No, you need to have rules back to behind it. Get back to behind it. But what I'm saying to you is if New York session creates a sweep, a lot of times it's going to go in the direction it needs to. So 5 minute liquidity sweep right here. And this is what I mean by it had to be a couple candles. Make it more clear. This was the low. We catch a breaker structure, but we didn't end up pushing higher. So as of the sweep, can I speak? Before the sweep, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost like 4 to 5 candles. We draw it out to the 1 minute. I choked up a little bit right there. All right. And this is where it gets really clean. So right here in this scenario, we caught a sweep on the 5 minute. We draw it out to the 1 minute. We see another sweep. Sweep, breaker structure. Any one of these highs considered as a breaker structure, and then we would just be moving forward. This high right here, this high right here. And if we see a fair value gap, then that's when we would try to move forward. There's one right here, no retest. There is one right here, and we end up getting a retest. So in this scenario, what I would have done is entered off of the retest. Yes, price would have been in drawdown for a little bit, but if you end up putting your stop loss at the sweep, you will have more winning trades than you believe. And what I mean by the sweep is where price created the liquidity sweep. I'm not talking about the hourly sweep. I'm not talking about whatever it may be. A lot of people will put their stop losses at the low or the high, and majority of the time, market will come and sweep you out and then go in the direction that you want it to go in. So, in this scenario, if you want to play it safe, you would have put your stop loss at the sweep. You would have also put your take profit at the hourly high that was just created. So, in this scenario, we would have had a 3 to 3, and we would have caught massive profits. And price would have never been in drawdown except for whenever you basically got in and then it rejected off of this doji candle. So this would have been a solid trade. Yes, you would have been risking more or less, I would say, 17 pips, but you also will be rewarding yourself. That's 10, almost 60 pips. So that's an insane risk to reward. Really, really, really insane. And also, if you're ever in a scenario where you're like, I don't want to risk that much. Well, okay, change your lot size. Don't be sitting here missing opportunity all because you want a 5 pip stop loss. You don't understand how many times I've done that and cost myself a beautiful setup, all because I wanted it to be my way. Well, if you can't adjust to what the market is showing you, don't trade. I'm gonna be straight up honest. Do not trade. You're wasting your time and you're wasting your money if you want me to be very honest with you. Because if you're gonna think that it's gonna work the way you want it to, nah, man. You gotta sit here and change to what the market. You gotta sit here and build yourself around the market and understand how it works. And then you could sit here and act like, oh, well, no, I'm not going to change because you need to stick to your rules. But if you have no rules, and especially if your rules are like actually valid, you're going to just keep making the same mistake. All right. So as we can see, Monday, there was not a clean trade. Tuesday, excellent trade. Let's go ahead and go back to the 1 hour. Let's draw all the way back to Wednesday. Okay. He's good. Never mind. All right. So what do we do again? We pull up London session and we see what market is showing us. Here we go. We have a high right here. And do we have anything else? I'm gonna let you just sit here and think about this for a second. We kind of have the same thing that happened on Monday. We have a high, but there is no low. Unless we draw back into another session, we bring Asia session back into play, and now we have a low. Good grief. All right. So this would be considered as our low. What happened in New York session? New York session created the sweep. Oh my gosh. There is a valid trade about to approach. In Jesus' name. Hallelujah. All right, so what did we just talk about? We need a 5 minute liquidity sweep within less than 5 candles. This will be considered as that less than 5 candles. Right here. 1, 2, 3. There we go. 3 candles to end up creating this liquidity sweep. What are we doing? Draw it down to the 1 minute. Okay. Okay, let's go. Let's go. All right. So we end up creating a liquidity sweep. Now we wait for a breaker structure, and in this scenario, I would say this would be the breaker structure because obviously this is a black candle, this is a blue candle, and that creates a low. And then we have the blue candle with the black candle, which creates a high. And yes, this is consolidating phase, but bear with me. Price ends up breaking structure, but we see no fair value gap in sight. The only fair value gap we literally see would be right here. Oh, that is not what I clicked. And let me kind of get these lines out the way so I ain't confusing nobody. But breaker structure would be considered as this high being broke. Now, in this scenario, if I do not see a valid retest, what should I do? Should I just jump into the market? Should I just sit here and panic? And should I sit here and not trade? Should I sit here and, just do anything? Realistically, what I would tell you to do is look at the market, zoom out, and see if there was any opportunities for you to get in. Just any. I mean, it could have realistically been something somewhere. And yes, you could have sat here and entered off of this retest because I personally don't like this, but it's still considered as a valid retest. This literally hit the zone, but it didn't go into the zone. And what I like to see is a clear rejection inside of the box. I don't like seeing something literally hit the edge because that's taking a risk for me. But in the scenario, we had a 1 hour liquidity sweep that was clear as day. We had a 5 minute liquidity sweep clear as day. You could take the opportunity the moment you saw a breaker structure. Where would you place your entry? Where would you place your stop loss? Where would you place your target? Target will obviously be the previous high that we saw before we draw down into these lower time frames. The SL, which would be your stop loss, will be target at the liquidity sweep. Now, yes, this would be outrageous, but let me just show you right here. Let's just say we entered off of this right here. We put our stop loss at the liquidity sweep, and then we target the high right there. Wouldn't have been in drawdown whatsoever. Yes, we would have had a, let's just say 11 stop loss, and then we would have targeted about 26 pips. Pretty fire. So every single trade that I've showed you guys, you've had almost like a 2R risk to reward. You know, you're risking maybe 1% but gaining 2%. It's pretty solid. And yes, sometimes trades are not going to look exactly what you want them to be. But if your strategy plays out, you might want to take the risk, because if you don't have faith in your strategy, don't even trade. You know, I don't understand why you would be in the market if you are just gambling. And something that I'll explain to you guys, it's a gamble whenever you don't know what you're doing. And it's considered strategy when you actually have a plan. It's the same thing going to a casino. It's gambling whenever you're just trying to win some money. It is a strategy when you know how to make money. So you guys just need to change your mind around that. You need to really think about, why do I do this? And you know, what's going to change everything just because I do it, you know. Don't do it because you just want to make some money. Anybody wants to make money, but if you don't have an overall plan on how to make that money, you're wasting your time. It's a gamble. Nobody realistically should be just taking a whim, you know, make a decision off of whims is what I'm saying. You can. You can be the idiot I used to be and just sit here and say, oh, the market's in an uptrend, I'm going to buy. Oh, the market's in a downtrend, I'm going to sell. Yeah, that's actually solid. It works. But what else are you going to do to make sure that that trade is going to go in that direction? Because you could have been just like me and sitting in the bed all day pouting because you took a loss, not knowing exactly why you took a loss. Hey, we're here now though, all right? So let's go ahead and move to Thursday. What do? We go ahead and mark out London session. Oh, it's so much harder whenever you're in the freaking 5 minute. Okay. Okay. So what do we see in London session? I'm telling you guys, the strategy is insane, man. We catch a low right here. We catch a high right here. And in this scenario, there's not much more I need to explain. We catch a liquidity sweep to the downside. That's all I need to say. That's all I need to say. That's all I need to say. Say, sir. That's all I need to say. We catch a liquidity sweep in 5 minutes. That's all I need to say. Hey, I'm done tweaking. That's what that coffee do to you. Okay. So we caught our 1 hour liquidity sweep off the London session. And it happened literally right before London session, but it's still London session sweep. I mean, New York session sweep. So here's a low. We catch a liquidity sweep off the 5 minute. Here's another low. We end up catching a liquidity sweep. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We just go ahead and go into the 1 minute and see our strategy play out and catch a W. Who knew? Who knew that your mom is a blessing? Get your mind out the gutters. All right. So liquidity sweep in the 1 minute. We end up catching a breaker structure right here. Even if this was a breaker structure, which is not, um, this would have been considered as our breaker structure. And let me show you something that is so key. This is considered as a breaker structure. This is expansionary. Only because, one, this is the high. Two, body breaks above the high and closes above the high. If the body does not close, it is not a break of structure. If the body is below, it is not a break of structure. The body has to close above and it has to be solid. It don't have to be solid. It just has to close above. So in this scenario, we end up catching a break of structure. But what else do we see? This is an inverse fair value gap and price rejects off of the zone. Clean as day. Freaking entry. Where do we put our stop loss? At the liquidity sweep. You want to win your trades? Target the liquidity sweep. Ham, bologna, cheese, chicken sandwich. Yes, this would have been a 1-to-1. The first 1-to-1 you would have took the entire time. But I'm telling you, put your stop loss in a secure spot and stop wasting time on valid setups. You would have been in this trade for literally freaking what? 1 minute, 45, 10 minutes, dude. 10 minutes and what, call a couple $100, not $1,000? Why freaking not, bro? Take the chance. Stop being. I was about to be my flesh to say something stupid. Stop being a pansy. Take the trade, have faith in your strategy, and move along. Move along. If you guys didn't realize, I was talking to myself. So all we do is just clear the market. Clean the charts. And let's go ahead and look what happened today. This was the last day to see what market was going to show us. What do we see happen in London session? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. We catch a liquidity sweep at New York session. Oh my ham, bologna, cheese, chicken sandwiches. Yeah, I wasn't ready for this. So with that being said, what do you think just happened? Oh my. This is a low. Price sweeps the low. It is game over. Game is over. Cut the game off. Okay. So right here, we catch a liquidity sweep. We catch a breaker structure. In this scenario, this would have been considered as a breaker structure. This would have been considered. Oh, I said this would have been considered as a breaker structure. This would have been considered as a breaker structure because it is the high. So, where is the valid retest, you guys? Where is the valid retest? Not right here. He could have got in right here. Um, also with that being said, what is this right here? Does it do it? Does it do it? It does it. It does it. There was an inverse fair value gap, a break above, and price retest. Look at that, you guys. Golden trades. Stop loss at the sweep, targeting previous highs. Insanity. Insanity. I think this trade is insanity. Okay. So, look at that, you guys. First trade that doesn't involve a massive stop loss. But, look at this, man. That's insane. Insane. That thing would have smashed your TP. Let's see. Stop loss of 11. Take profit of whew, almost 50 pips. Good grief. Almost 50 pips. What I wanted you guys to understand from this weekly analysis is the fact of, do you see how I break down the markets day by day? Do you see how I'm sitting here being patient? And I'm doing that right now. That's not saying what I do whenever I'm actually live trading, because you guys seen me live trade for the people that actually have followed me for this entire process. Now I have no other choice but to understand to be patient. And if I see my setup, there is no second guessing. There is confirmation and moving forward. If there is no confirmation, there is no moving forward. That's all that needs to be considered every single time you get in these markets. So there was no trade on Monday, beautiful trade on Tuesday, beautiful trade on Wednesday, beautiful trade on Thursday, and beautiful trade on freaking Friday. So basically, 4 out of 5 days were solid trades, and 4 out of 4 trades were W trades if my stop loss was at the sweep. And do you see how serious it is to have a solid stop loss? Yes, I could have sat here and looked at news, but news doesn't matter with the strategy that I use. Dang, that was fire. I was rhyming. But I just want you guys to understand, man, like it's a solid foundation of a strategy. Liquidity sweep, breaker structure, and a fair value gap. 1 hour liquidity sweep, well, 1 hour bias, then 1 hour liquidity sweep. 5 minute liquidity sweep. And these have to be within a couple candles. It can't be more than that. And then the full strategy, liquidity sweep, breaker structure, fair value gap, or inverse fair value gap. And understand that whenever the liquidity sweep happens, it has to be liquidity sweep, breaker structure, then fair value gap, or inverse fair value gap. It can't be liquidity sweep, inverse fair value gap, and then breaker structure. No, that's opposite. You can't do that. I mean, you can, but you're taking risk. But you guys just seen it plain as day. That's how this works for me. And it's so clean. It's perfect. I love it. I'm excited whenever I can actually get a challenge again. And plus, I'm looking spit for you guys. Look at me, boy. Your boy got a job at cellular sales. Come on now. Give credit when it is due, boy. Give credit when it was due. I'm over here. You know what I'm saying? Up in my looking like a pastor. Hold on. Hey guys. Today's word, looking clean. That's all that matters. Now, like I said, ignore the background. Chill. Let me, let me, let me be at home and be at peace in Jesus' name. Oh. All right. But that's it for me, guys. The Lord has been blessing. I am grateful. I'm blessed that I can show you guys this stuff. I'm happy that I am on the path that I am because I will pass the challenge very, very soon. And I believe that. Once I start getting this money rolling in and I can actually take challenges, you best know you're going to see me post every single day again. Also, with that being said, I'll be on a schedule to where I can live trade every single day pretty soon, hopefully. But I still will be taking trades once I get an account. Just give me some time, you guys. Just give me some time. I encourage you to stay locked in. Hey, every time I post a video, check them out. I don't post these videos just say I post something. Clips, that's different. I'm just gonna post clips just the heck of it, just because it brings interaction and it shows YouTube that I'm posting something. But I will get into the process where I actually start uploading actually informational things. Same thing. I'm actually gonna do something really, really solid for you guys really, really soon. Just give me some time. Because realistically, I talked about it in the past, and I'm pretty sure you guys already know what it is. I want to start teaching people how to day trade. And I'm not going to do it as in, oh, you're going to be a guaranteed trader. No, you are only going to be what you choose to be. I have no control over that. But what I can do is give you information to get where you may want to be. So just give me some time on that. I have no date, and wherever it may go, the Lord has control. If it keeps continuously putting it in my heart and I find the right time to just knock it all out, hey, we're there. But just give me some time. If you got this far, hey, I appreciate you. I really do. I think you should really go down through my YouTube and actually check out the videos that I've posted. Not because, once again, I want the pleasure of just sitting here saying, hey, everybody watches my stuff. Hey, everybody subscribes. I want you to learn something. I don't just talk about, the market on here. I talk about God. I talk about my relationship with God. I talk about my experiences, my lessons. This is not just about trading the stock market. This is a lesson to learn from my mistakes. So that's it for me, guys. Like and subscribe. Hey, share. Share this crap. Don't share this crap. Share this. Love, share everything that I try to do for you guys. I do it because I'm trying to be a vessel. I'm not doing it for fame and glory. Hey, come on now. Let's get this thing rolling. And in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.